Hello again everyone, and welcome to another tutorial in my How to Draw Great Art series. Before we start, of course, if you could subscribe, that would be fabulous. Thank you very much. And also, ring that little bell icon if you want to know what's coming up next. Okay, well, the great art today is The Laughing Cavalier by Frans Hals, his masterpiece painted in 1624. Now, I'm going to start with a line here which indicates the line of the eyes, because the character is turning round to look at you, and it's a slightly three-quarter view. So the eyes are on that line there. So if we start there, for instance, for his left eye, and come up in a sharp line, and then curve it round, and bring the bottom of the eye around like that. And his pupil of the eye is in here, looking out of the corner of the eye towards you. Now, of course, the Laughing Cavalier is neither laughing or is he a cavalier, but he's certainly got a twinkle in his eye, and he's a very rich person. He's dressed in very fashionable embroidered silk and so on. So there's the angle of the eyes, like that, looking out at you. The eyebrows, quite thick, come up at an angle like that to the corner of the eyebrow there, and then draw an eyebrow in like that. The other one comes in just above the corner of the eye here, goes up quite sharply, and curves around like that. And then the forehead slopes back from there. Now let's do the hat. It's a very impressive large hat. So it comes up like that, quite high forehead, and curving over, get little strands of his hair coming out underneath the hat here at that point. And as the hat goes round the back of his head to about this point here, you get the back coming up almost in a kind of straight line to a curve there, and then a great big kind of sweep up like that. And that curve there, and then right round like that. Okay, and as the hat comes around here, the hair, which is kind of curled in lines. There's one line of hair coming down at that angle there, and it's curled up, and some of the tendrils of the end of the hair curl over that line of the hat there. And so there's kind of like a sausage roll there. And also another one here coming up, a ringlet used to call them. So you get these lines, which I'll put in properly in a minute, but there's two kind of lines coming in here. Stray bits of hair coming around there, and then the hair coming down from the side of his ear, which comes in here. The ear starts in a line just at the top of his eye there, comes down like that. Okay, so let's go over to the face again now. The nose, quite a short nose, comes down at that angle there, quite rounded at the tip, and large nostril there, and then the back of his nose there. And got some shading, of course, and it's a bit kind of bumpy there, almost as if he's broken his nose at some point. That here bump there, and the shading comes in around his eyes, and he's got, he's only 24, but in actual fact, he's got bags under his eyes, so he's been living a roisterous life, I think. So, right, so we get the corner of his eye coming in there, and then the cheekbone coming out, coming down there. And of course, under the nose we have the famous big moustache. It curves up in a great big sweep like that, and below his mouth curves up like that first of all, and then curves out beyond his cheekbone there. And this other one on the side comes up like that. Okay, so that's the outline of it. Below that we have his mouth, and we have a rather expressive mouth. You have that kind of indentation there, and then the line between his lips has quite a distinct kind of cupid's bow shape. Because in it, that's slightly turned up at the end. You know, there's definitely as I say, a twinkle in his eye and a slight kind of smile in his mouth. Hardly laughing, but he's certainly got a kind of smiling look about him, which is unusual for the 17th century because portraits were usually pretty serious in the 17th. And didn't get anyone smiling until the 18th century. And below that we have a goatee beard, coming in like that. And his chin, coming in here. And his jawbone coming down like that. A little bit of a double chin there. And the hair at the back, again, curls round. There's another roll of hair coming in here. And more curls coming in there. And as I said, I'm putting them in lightly just now, but I'll go over them more heavily in a second. And the back of his neck comes in here. Now, a bit more shading you can see coming down here. Round, light catching this part. So this part shaded round here. Light catching here. And down to there. And he's got a very broad lace ruff around his neck, which is kind of pointed at the bottom like that. Also, there are layers of it, another layer appearing in there. This bit comes down like that. And I say we have a top layer which is kind of scalloped. Like that. Another layer underneath it. And across. And another layer underneath that. And then he has a black silk scarf around his neck, which comes in here, kind of folded up. You get that kind of fold shape there, with the ends coming in like that. And a little bit of his doublet appearing here. And back of his shoulder appearing here like that. A kind of puffed sleeve. And it's all richly embroidered. And it's possibly a betrothal portrait because on the designs, if you look at it, look at the actual painting, you'll find there are lovers' knots and bees and flaming torches and all that kind of thing, all symbols of love and romance. So some experts think it's a betrothal portrait. A lady that you're going to marry. Okay? So, again, the puff sleeves come in there. And there's a kind of slit down that sleeve there. Another fashionable thing. And things, as I said, lovers' knots appearing, coming in like that. Okay? And other little shapes as well, like I said, bees. Right, so I'm just going to go back over this again and sharpen up these pencil lines, make them a little bit darker, because I'm going to shade this in to show you how to do a real kind of dynamic sketch of the Laughing Cavalier. But I'm just going over that, and as I say, toughen up these lines, and I'll go back to you when I've done that. Okay, as you can see, I've strengthened all those pencil lines, and now I'm going to put a few details in. Remember those kind of curls coming down here? The way to work on them is to shade with your pencil line, following the line of the hair, like that, quite thick, and then leave a section in the centre, and then again, imagine the curl going around like that. The pencil lines will follow it around like that, and that gets those little ends covering over the top of his hat. Same with his next one, there's another one here. So it'll be darker in there, along that line. And as it comes up, a bit more shading on the outside, and leave a lighter line around the centre there. A few more bits of shading in here. Coming down to the hair behind his ear here, which is actually quite dark. Quite dark, but I'll shade it in properly in a second. Let's move on to the eyes here. and get that little twinkle, you know. And there's a little bit of a highlight coming there, so put a wee circle there. Another one here. And then shade in those pupils dark like that. And see how he's looking out from the corner of his eye, that kind of mischievous almost look about him. And now we've got to the eyebrows, and you can again use your pencil strokes in the same way the hair's falling on the eyebrows, like that. The hair's lying, I should say, like that. Okay? And a bit darker along the top of the eye there. Bit of the eyelash coming in, like that. And then some shading in here under his eyebrows, catching the front of his eye there, a little bit of darkness there, and then some shading, I say, around this kind of bumpy bit of his nose here, coming down the side. You can use your pencil shading in a kind of circular motion like that, or you can use it a bit more sketchy by using parallel lines like that kind of thing there, or I say down that line at the side of his forehead there. You want to make it look that bit more sketchy, but still keeping the artistic quality to it. Now his famous moustache, and get it kind of darker underneath here, so a bit more weight in your pencil. And again, following the line of the hair as it comes up, that great sweep, like that. And on this side. Okay, and a bit more shading of the top lip here. And a bit around this side, but leave the centre of the mouth light, like that. Goatee beard now. Dark on the left hand side here, getting lighter, but again use the strokes to signify the hair. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is move up to the hat. That's all black, so I'm going to shade it in a kind of random way. You can use different strokes if you like. You can use them following the line if you like that, or you can use circular strokes. It will all look pretty good anyway, no matter what way you do it, once you fill it in. Okay, so I'm going to do that. It's a 5B pencil, by the way, so it's nice dark lines. So I'm going to continue to fill the whole hat area, and I'll catch up with you when I've done it. Right, just finished off the hat there. You know, shaded into these little curl shapes, left them standing out against the black. Now we can move on to the shading on the face now. Again, you can use parallel lines like that, or you can use circular shading if you want to get a softer look. And around the cheekbone here, and down the side of his face under the moustache. And then, you know, this area here is catching the light, so you leave it light and shade in around there under his chin, which is darker at that point. And that gets that shading up to there. Maybe more shading around that side of the lip. And on his neck. And a bit more sketchy lines here. Like that. And then shade it over his area because it's all in shadow. And then just put in the dark parts coming in there, kind of triangular part there. That shape there. And just darken up these lines here as well. The curls of his hair as they come round. Like that, and then very dark behind his ear there, a bit of shadow under his ear. And then these dark lines of hair coming up, curling up behind his neck. Like that. Okay, so let's move down now to the lace on his neck, and just a few, leave it all white, a few little indications of the way that it's kind of spread out over his shoulders like that. And then at the bottom we have these rough ruffle shapes, like scallop shapes. So we just put a bit more shading underneath each one, and indicate the embroidery by putting a few marks like that at the tip of each scallop. See that? Just petering off like that. Right, just indicating little holes there in the lace, and shading down here now. It's a black silk scarf. There's a little bit of brooches appearing in there, you can just see, with a gold edging to it. But basically this is all very dark. That's V-shaped, kind of crease in the centre coming down like that, and the little fronds at the end of the scarf. Following the line down like that. Okay, outline that part there a bit more. Okay, down to the embroidered doublet. So there's lots of shapes on it. There's a row of buttons down there, and you have these lines coming from the back of the buttons, like a double line, and also the arrowhead shapes I was talking about, and well, a lover's knot over here. Another arrow here, and a V shape. More arrows here. Lover's knot. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to, there's more kind of shapes kind of pitting in there, kind of gold embroidery. And basically they're all dark and these kind of stand out. So I'm going to just shade in between these lines, like that, black. And that's what you would do once you've drawn them in. Just shade them in black. That's the end of his doublet there. And that will give you the sense of the darkness of the doublet and the gold stitching. Okay, you know, around here, for instance, you would shade up to there, leaving these bits white up to the top, and so on. Okay. Right, that's some shading in this little doublet here. And I mentioned all those shapes like lover's knots and so on. But remember, this is a sketch. And you want to get a kind of loose approximation, just give it a sensation, impression of, you don't have to, you know, slavishly copy all it. Just give the impression that these things are there, you know, these lines and so on. You get a question that asks a sensation of the kind of richness of the fabric. Now these folds coming down like that, all you have to do is leave some light parts like that, as if the edges are catching the light, and shade in between. And that'll give you the sensation of the fabric coming around like that. Leave these white bits, see that? And again, you can use your parallel lines to give this nice impressionistic quality to your shading. This was up too far, so I brought it back down to here. Nice bit, dark bit across the back here. And this is slash on the sleeve here, dark in there, but you get some of the shaded lines coming in just below it there. Okay, so that's looking quite good. It gives you a real sense of the masterpiece that was Frans Hals' painting of the Laughing Cavalier. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you can join me again for another tutorial. Let's put this wee bit in here. Okay, but in the meantime, of course, all the best and happy drawing.